The whole world now has an option to move to an alternative parallel economy that protects their rights. And this is the key. If the community can't censor you, and if the blockchain can't stop you from transacting and posting and talking and expressing yourself, then it gives you effectively digital human rights to transact that the old system that we currently exist in doesn't do.
This is an audio recording of an X space courtesy of thecoinrepublic.com, the go-to place where you can keep up to date with what's happening in the crypto space.
Tokenmetrics AI analyzes millions of data points to uncover hidden gems, delivering buy and sell signals you can trust. Our AI spots tokens before they moon, helping you stay ahead in the fast-paced crypto world. Join tens of thousands of investors who have taken their portfolios to the moon and beyond.
Now, Matt, Free Speak TV is on. I can see him. Matt, if you could please request to become a speaker. And for the host, he's showing up as 3Speak TV. And Matt has been on my channel. You can find me Crypto Rich BTC on YouTube, on ODYSEE, Rumble, Podbean, and of course 3speak.tv. All right, so what can I say about 3Speak TV? So there are centralized video platforms like YouTube, like Rumble. YouTube, of course, is part of Google, part of Alphabet. And Rumble is listed on the stock exchange. It's a centralized company. And the problem with centralized entities is that they can be captured. They can be captured through regulation. They can be captured through hacking. And they can also be captured financially. You know, somebody could buy up Rumble in the same way that Elon Musk bought up Twitter, turned it to X, but he changed the policy with regards to censorship that was in place prior to his purchase. So in that way, centralized entities can be bought up. Now, decentralized entities, they're not so easy to capture. How do you capture Bitcoin? How do you capture a decentralized VPN? And then how do you capture a decentralized vlogging platform? Hey, Matt.
Hey, Crypto Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing very, very well at long last. At long last. Thank you so much for making yourself
apologies for
available.
being a bit. Apologies for that. Yeah, my computer wasn't picking up my my audio mic for a while there, and I just couldn't get it to activate. But we're on now, so all good.
We're on now, and we have people exposed from all over the world. And what I recommend you all do if you're listening is you should all subscribe and follow 3Speak TV on X. And then you can also go and access 3speak.tv, which is a vlogging platform purely on the blockchain. Matt, you and I, we've done quite a few videos. It's been a while, though. It's been a while, Matt, since you and I spoke. We've done quite a few videos about 3Speak. But here, consider this as a brand new audience for you. They don't know anything about 3Speak. So do you want to start by giving a bit of an introduction of how it came about and what it is?
Yeah, Rich. So basically, I guess it was 2019, 2018, maybe. We'd been involved in blockchain for a little while and looking at the projects, and we kind of started to realize that you can really own your social media accounts outside of social media platforms using this technology. And so eventually we were like, well, someone's got to do video on this stuff so that people can really own their social media accounts on video platform. And so we ended up building 3Speak because we were just kind of like, well, if we apply this technology this way, then the users can actually own their social media account. Then we as the platform, if we build this video platform, we can't take the accounts off the users. And so that was it. And, we started building it from that point forwards. And of course, with all the censorship going on, and you can see where the world was going. Yeah.
Matt, hold on. If I can break it down a little bit, right? Isn't there a problem with blockchain that it can't hold the sort of data that required for a video platform? And also the latency, it's just too slow. So how does 3Speak get around that?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. The primary thing is that the account, the metadata to the account is on the blockchain. So no one can take the account off you. And then we just started off storing videos, in a centralized way. So we'd store them on our server. And so ultimately, we are the central point of failure for those videos. But then over time, we've built something called the SPK network, and that allows us to store videos off chain by paying the community to store those videos. So that's currently being rolled out, and basically that will fully decentralize free speak storage, as well as the account system.
Okay, so right now, Free Speak isn't fully centralized?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's various different aspects to it. So the account system is fully decentralized. It's on the blockchain because you can store text on the blockchain. So blockchain is very good at storing text, and on Hive you can store it for free, which is the blockchain that we use for the accounts. And so that side of it, and all the links to the metadata, all the links to the history, your followers, your community, anything that's text-based is decentralized on the blockchain because you can store text on the blockchain. But right now, the actual videos themselves are on servers that you would call them centralized. But over time, we are moving to a system where the community themselves store those videos on our behalf, so that even if we disappear, those videos are stored in a decentralized way. And no one else is doing that yet either.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, the system is running, and it's been built over the last 3 or 4 years. And basically, what happens is you'll grab a file from our site, and then randomly a server in the network will ping your server to say, "Hey, have you got that file still?" And if you provide the hash of that file back to the server that's pinging you, then the system will say, and you have to do it quickly. You have to provide the hash back quickly, and that's proof that you've got the file that you say that you've got. And then the system will pay you a little bit of money. So it's like mining, but with content instead, with storage of content. Yeah.
Right, like proof of content or proof of storage or something like that. Okay. And then we're going to get into like the blockchain that FreeSpeak is built on. And we're also going to get into how FreeSpeak allows people to generate KYC free money, which can then be spent KYC free. That's really, really exciting, right?
Yes.
So, but let's just stay with the basics of FreeSpeak. So now the website is 3speak.tv, by the way, and you can find my work on 3speak.tv, but it's on the Hive blockchain, which is a fork of Steemit. Or was it Steem?
The blockchain was called Steem, yeah.
Blockchain is called Steem, right? Do you want to say a little bit about that, the history of FreeSpeak, a history of Steem and Hive?
Yeah, sure. And this is one of the reasons that we work on Hive, is because we know it's fully decentralized. And so back in the day, we used to work on Steem, and Steem had a big centralizing stake from the corporation Steemit Inc. that built the Steem blockchain originally. And that was bought under the table by a guy called Justin Sun, who is not really pro-decentralization as far as we can tell, and the community didn't like that. And he started voting his own infrastructure operators into the consensus with that stake. And it effectively started to centralize the chain, the original Steem blockchain. And so the community said, "Hey, we're going to leave. We just don't want to deal with this guy. He's centralizing our chain." So the community copied the Steem blockchain, made a new fork called Hive, and then the whole community moved across to Hive. And they left Justinson alone on Steem. And now Hive is operating without his stake. So basically the new fork zeroed his balance, and that allowed the community to move away from him without having to, effectively steal his stuff or anything, because it's still on Steem and Steem still operates, but the community left and went to Hive. And that's really where your value comes from in a blockchain ecosystem. It's the community members themselves. Where do they put their feet? And so they all moved across to Hive, and now Hive operates for the last almost 6 years.
That's amazing.
And it's an amazing story. Like the market cap of Hive is higher than Steem, and it's one of the first times, if not the only time, as far as I can tell, that it actually worked, where the community forked away from an attacker in blockchain and created a higher market cap on the other side.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing, and it shows the value of decentralized projects. Because supposing, and if I think about Bitcoin, supposing some really, really large entities like Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy or the United States or BlackRock were to buy up loads and loads of Bitcoin, so they own all the Bitcoin. Well, little people like you and I, well, we can go and move over to Pirate Chain or Monero or Hive even or something. And they're left with nothing, and then we're transacting with that, which is the value of a decentralized asset. It resists ownership, that sort of centralized ownership.
That's really what's happening. That's really what's
Yeah.
happening. Like the whole world now has an option to move to an alternative parallel economy that protects their rights. And this is the key. Like if the community can't censor you, and if the blockchain can't stop you from transacting and posting and talking and expressing yourself, then it gives you effectively digital human rights to transact that the old system that we currently exist in doesn't do. And so, yeah, everyone effectively is doing what what Hive did to Steam to move away. Normal people are now able to use the same technology and move across from the old economy to the new economy. And that new economy protects your rights to transact. And it's peaceful and it's voluntary and it's hopefully a slow, steady process that isn't too risky or jerky. And just super, super cool thing. And I see people becoming more free as a result.
Yes. And it's not, you say peaceful, it's not coercive. You don't have to do this.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is choice. People want to stay with Steam, go ahead, knock your socks off, right? Go transact. I suppose it's the opposite spirit of CBDCs, which you and I
That's exactly the point.
don't like.
This is key. This is really key. You touch on a very important point, because I think most people won't realize that many tokens, they are centralized and they are controllable and censorable. And the CBDC that they're going to offer you, it'll come in a different form probably than just a straight up CBDC. But they're going to say, use this, it's good for you and everything. And they're going to give you some free money, and then they'll start tracking your transactions and understanding who you are, and they'll probably block some people and KYC everything that you do. Whereas in truly decentralized ecosystems, they can't do that. And they actually protect your rights. So they look very similar to CBDCs, but they don't have an owner behind them. There isn't a central authority creating the money. And so this is what's key. If people can, like you were saying, earn KYC free money and then go spend that into the economy, you've just created a parallel economy that no one can block or stop.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So give us some more of the basics of 3speak.tv.
Yeah, 3Speak. So it's a very simple video platform that you can log in and upload your videos to. And then what happens is the metadata links to those videos go on the blockchain attached to your account. And then as you build followers, those followers are also on the blockchain, so they cannot be deleted by us. Your social media account, therefore, cannot be deleted by us. And so it really is your property as long as you have the keys to it, which you should protect vigorously with this technology. And they stay on chain, and then people from anywhere can go grab them and see them. And also, it means that people don't just have to rely on 3Speak. Any other platform can integrate these videos and integrate this content into their own platforms. It's on a public database, and so it means that when you post your video to 3Speak, it also shows up on a bunch of other social media platforms that are out there using the blockchain. And so it's a very interesting way to think about media and social media and protection of your content and publishing of your content. And then what happens is if people in the community like your content and they vote for it, the blockchain mines crypto to your content. So instead of only sending crypto to the miners on the blockchain, the people that secure the blockchain, about 70% of the rewards actually go to people curating and making content. And the idea behind this is that it means we can get crypto into the hands of normal people. You don't have to be some technical genius and run a node or anything like that. You can just post your videos or post your content to the platforms, and you can earn fresh crypto as though you mined it from the chain.
Okay. So now this is so funny, right? Because it's been ages since you and I spoke, and I've been posting regularly on 3speak.tv, and I'm just trying to think how to translate this for people who've never been to 3Speak. But we're all familiar with YouTube, and more of us are becoming familiar with Rumble. But it would be like, so I post videos on YouTube, and just by virtue of posting videos, I'm getting paid in crypto. That's what happens on 3Speak, and we just get paid in crypto. And then I can accumulate that crypto within my 3Speak account, which is doubles up as a blockchain wallet. That's a fair summation?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
That's not so bad. So anybody here who's already a vlogger or thinking of becoming a vlogger, go and post on 3Speak your videos, and then you will get to earn crypto. It's that simple. And for the Coin Republic, well, they might want to open an account on 3Speak as well. Now, what sort of content? Go on, Matt.
Well, it's what sort of content is anything you want, really. You know, we don't curate like gore or violence or anything like that, or like threats to people's lives or anything. We're not interested in that stuff, but we will curate anything that's just normal. You know, we're very neutral. We don't have really any online political opinions, and we just let people post and speak.
Okay,
and then once it's on the chain, it can be pulled by any platform. So once you put your content on the chain, any other platform can grab that, and you can spin up these platforms really, really easily now as well. So you can have your own social media platform that shows all your videos, and it's very much becoming a system whereby no one needs to rely on us to publish their video content to the blockchain, basically.
Right, but what do you do about illegal content? You know, the child kiddie porn or incitement to violence.
Yeah, sure. We actually had a case of that before, and so from the front end itself, we can block sketchy content because it's, you know, we run the front end, it's our front end. So we have a responsibility to make sure that there isn't any sketchy stuff on there. But once you publish text to the blockchain, it's on the blockchain, and there's not much you can do about anything after that point. It's just that the front ends themselves that display the content, they have a responsibility to make sure that like really bad content isn't shown on their own front ends. But yeah, I mean, a transaction on the chain is a transaction on the chain. If that happens to be a text message or an image in text or whatever, it's very, very difficult to delete that. If there is some really bad stuff that's published to the chain, it is possible for the community to, if the whole community comes together and says, like, this is bad shit, like, because, you know, at the end of the day, humanity does have like a moral compass of some sorts, and you are able to really reach consensus on what that is. And so things could be forked out of the chain that way if the whole community agreed that it was really bad.
Right. And I think pretty much all decent people everywhere will agree that child porn is pretty bad and incitement to violence is pretty bad. So we can achieve consensus around those issues. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
But is there a particular sort of content that gets posted on 3Speak that does better than other type of content?
Not in particular. I personally would recommend shorts, because it's just lower effort, it's lower energy that you have to put in to mine the same amount of crypto out, or more or less the same amount of crypto. And the votes are distributed based on views. So the more views you get, the more traffic you have, the more interactions you have underneath your content, the more votes you'll get, because you're basically put into a pool with a bunch of other people in that last, I think it's a 4-hour period now. And you're compared to their content. So if they've got less traffic than you, you'll get bigger votes than that. And so it's all about getting traffic to your Web3 property, ideally using Web2, which is the old internet, to advertise that and move people towards a property that you actually own, which is your social media account on blockchains.
Okay. And then you've said a couple of times about the 3Speak economy. So talk about that. How does that work in reference with Hive and HBD, and how that allows people to generate KYC free money?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned earlier briefly that if you get votes from other people in the community, then you'll earn crypto from the blockchain based on on 3Speak itself, based on the number of views that you get. So that then allows you to earn this crypto. How do in what form does that come? It comes from a rewards pool that's a daily rewards pool. So if you don't post, other people get the rewards. So it's like an incentive to keep posting because you're all competing for those rewards off the chain. And the rewards generally come 50-50. 50% is staked in the ecosystem so that you're earning governance tokens, and staked token, which is Hive, is a governance token. So it allows you to vote on content yourself. It allows you to vote on governance decisions in the ecosystem. And the other half comes in HBD, which is Hive-backed dollars, which is a stable coin. And that is a very, very powerful stable coin because there is no company behind it. There is no central entity, and there are no banking assets backing it. It's collateralized by the Hive token. And so, and it's also feeless. So you can send it, you can earn it, no KYC, and then you can spend it in various different shops around the world. And you can even get instant cash back for spending it. but that's a separate project. But it's very, very interesting now because you are seeing people mining this currency from the blockchain in a non-KYC way and then going to shops and spending it and receiving discounts back for taking a couple of photos of what they buy. And so it's really demonstrating that you can earn this crypto non-KYC. You can go spend it in shops in a feeless non-KYC way, and then you can earn cash back instantly as a result. And so not only is it freedom money that protects your rights to transact, but it's also cheaper than using fiat.
Look, but how can I spend it? Who knows about HBD? I mean, there are people here, I'm sure, who have come on because I posted about this on the Free Speak Telegram group, and there are people that follow your account that will have seen that, right? But how can you spend HBD? Who knows about HBD?
A lot of people, actually, at this point. Yeah, it's becoming the beauty of this is, there's no venture capital money behind this blockchain. There's no venture capital money behind Free Speak, and all of the other platforms on Hive either. It's a non-venture capital chain. It had no ICO, no pre-mine. So there's no like corporate money backing it. And so it's very much a grassroots movement. Like it's a word of mouth thing. There is no real organized marketing system on Hive. It's just a case of people, learning about it. And then the beauty of this whole thing is that normal people can earn crypto because everyone can post photos and videos.
Yes.
Not everyone, but most people. I'm terrible at it. I'm not much of a content creator myself, but many people can.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. And if you look on YouTube, right, you'll find videos posted by 5-6-year-olds, and you'll find videos posted by grannies and everybody in between. And some of the videos that are posted on YouTube, they're just really, really bad, or they're so niche. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my wife. My wife, for a whole period, was watching these videos on vets that were treating sick cows. I'm like, I didn't know that there was a whole market for those sorts of videos. Why would anybody watch them? But people do. So absolutely. So that that democratizes it. Anybody here who's watching, you can start posting videos on 3speak.tv and then earning Hive and HBD just for posting videos. And you can post videos about anything. I mean, how I got into crypto when I first started posting in April 2017, I had no idea. I just thought, I'll just talk about what I know, which wasn't very much at the time. But yes, absolutely. Okay. Now something else that you said that I thought was really important is that there's no company behind it. It was a fair launch. There's no secret stash of Hive being held by anybody. It's completely open source. So there are lots and lots of different groups that are developing different applications on the Hive blockchain. Okay. So that's just absolutely fabulous. No ICO, nothing, truly decentralized. And in my conversations with you, Matt, you do talk a lot about the value of true decentralization, how important it is on the for freedom.
Absolutely.
So good for you on that. Okay.
The key to that is, Rich, if you don't mind me saying, it's all about having a neutral layer, right? So a neutral layer is one that doesn't have an ICO or a CEO or a company behind it, right? One that lets everyone access it. And you don't have to be, accountable to some corporate entity or some venture capitalist firm that owns a bunch of your tokens because they bought them cheaply in an ICO. Once you have that situation, like for example, to a decent extent, Bitcoin is pretty neutral because there is no company behind it. There is no one with a ton of tokens. I mean, Satoshi does have a ton of tokens, but I would advise the Bitcoin community to get rid of those tokens. But even then, he can't control the governance, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a chain where is there a corporate entity behind it? Is there one person with a massive personality, a cult of personality behind it? That's a centralized point of failure. Is there one entity or several large entities that bought a ton of the tokens in a pre-mine that got ordained those tokens? In those cases, those chains are not neutral, and they might try to protect your rights, but ultimately they can't protect your rights over time. And if that community becomes controversial to the current system, for example, moving people away from the economy, then you can guarantee that at some point the old system's going to get its fingers in there and compromise some elements of the ecosystem. So it's not neutral money. Whereas if you didn't have an ICO or a pre-mine or a corporate entity backing your chain or building on your chain, then you have neutral money and you are able to protect people's human rights to transact. And that therefore creates a parallel economy that is not attached to the old economy. And as long as you can mine for doing simple things like creating content, now you can get the money into the hands of normal people, and then they can spend that neutral money that protects their rights into businesses. And it just makes a parallel economy that's better than the old economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And listening to you talking about neutrality, what gives it neutrality as well is that it's permissionless. I don't need to ask for anyone's permission whether
Exactly
I can go
that.
on this. Yeah, and even if
Yeah.
go on.
Well, it also, in my opinion, it has to be feeless as well. Because if you're using fees to protect your security mechanism, which is what most chains do, so basically when you send crypto, you have to pay a fee to the miners that keeps them in business. But at a certain point, there's a good potential that the fees go up significantly, and that's limiting to many other people, especially the unbanked. They just can't afford to pay those fees, and even then, on top of that, layer twos have to pay those fees as well. So if there's a layer two system building on your ecosystem, they have to cover the cost of those fees every time they clear back to layer one for layer one security. And that then creates more centralized layer twos, and just, they won't clear every instant because they don't want to keep paying the fees. So they'll hold your data for a period of time. And now by holding your data before they clear to layer one, they're asking you to trust them with that data. And this whole technology was supposed to be trustless. And so for me, it should be a feeless layer one, because on a feeless layer one, you can clear instantly all the time. And so the layer twos can clear instantly to the layer ones, which means you don't have to trust the layer twos. And layer twos are things like, DeFi ecosystems and social media systems and things like, applications built on top of the blockchain, basically.
So yeah. I didn't know that Hive has no fees. If you send me Hive,
there's zero fees. There always has been zero fees. Yeah, if I ever send you Hive, I don't have to think about paying gas or anything like that. All I have to do is I have to have some small amount of Hive staked in the ecosystem, probably like $3 or so worth of Hive, and it gives me enough resources in the ecosystem to transact. As a normal user, posting a few comments every day, posting a bit of content every day, doing some voting, $3 to $4 staked is enough that you can transact for free forever.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That is amazing. I didn't know that because I've not spent any Hive. I'm just accumulating it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very interesting thing because the spending side of this, there's a movement called Spend HBD, HBD being the stablecoin, and people are actually going out, documenting themselves spending the stablecoin and earning rewards back from the chain.
Yeah.
So not only is it cheaper to spend this currency because there's zero fees. So like when we go and talk to business owners, this is a legit thing. They have to pay between 0.5 and 2.5%, depending on where you are, to the credit card companies, right? And we go in and say it's feeless. There's zero fees to pay to anyone because there's no company behind it. There's no one there extracting any value. So all the value remains in the economy. And business owners are like, what? Really? I don't have to pay any fees to anyone? There's no fees to pay to use the point of sale system so that we can collect payments or anything? No fees. And then not only that, because as a customer, if you're spending money in these shops and you're documenting the fact that you're spending, people in the community vote for your content that you're documenting the spend, and that then mines you more crypto. So the system actually pays you to use it. And this is the difference with many other chains and ecosystems. This is how you know it's not a scam. Because if a system's saying to you, don't buy the token, please don't buy the token, right? Come use the system and the system will pay you. Come upload videos, come upload blogs to platforms like Hive.blog and XNC. Come upload shorts to things like Leo Finance, right? Come talk about your gaming side of things, whatever. Come play. There's computer games on the ecosystem as well. So it's not just content. It's, computer games like Splinterlands have done very, very, very well over the years. And so you can come and game and get paid. So it's this whole mentality of to earn, right? Spend to earn. So if you spend on the ecosystem, you can earn crypto. If you post content, you can earn crypto. If you play games, you can earn crypto. Play to earn, spend to earn. If you store videos on behalf of others on the ecosystem, you earn. So the ecosystem is just distributing all the time, distributing crypto to people for doing things on the chain. And it's not just crypto miners, which is what most chains do. Most chains just distribute their fresh KYC-less crypto to miners who have to be, I'm not technically capable to run a node myself, And so how do I get my crypto in ecosystems like Bitcoin? They just say, well, go work for a Bitcoiner. And I'm like, I don't like the sound of that. I want to work for it. I want to contribute to a neutral chain that pays me if I work for it, or if I do something good for it, right? And so that's why I'm so interested in an ecosystem like Hive, because it really does allow us to distribute fresh crypto to our users.
That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. Okay. Now, I do have an issue with free speak, but that issue may actually point more to me, Matt, right? So it's a very, very small platform. People don't know about it. People know about YouTube. They know about Rumble. Some people will know about BitChute and ODYSEE, but nobody knows about ThreeSpeak. And my videos hardly get any views on ThreeSpeak. So can you address that and what's happening in terms of ThreeSpeak's growth?
Sure. For me, so far, we haven't really put ThreeSpeak too hard in terms of marketing or anything, because we've had an issue with the login system. But we're just about to resolve that over the next few weeks. And I'm really, really excited then, because it means people will be much more easily able to log in and use the system than currently stands. We have, for example, a really easy to use mobile app that you can download from either Android or iOS app stores. And it works great there. It's really nice. But once the web app, the web platform is upgraded a little bit, we'll do a bit more marketing on ThreeSpeak.
So
The
what's
other thing that we've always said,
sorry, excuse me, Matt. Sorry, what's the issue with the login?
it's not that intuitive. It's not that intuitive at the moment. On the website,
Right.
on the web app side, on the mobile side, it's much more intuitive.
Okay.
So there's like a barrier to entry there, in my opinion, that we need to get resolved. But it's not just that. The way that we look at it is, if you're building a Web3 system, if you as a content creator have a Web3 property, then in many ways it's your responsibility to push people to it.
Yes.
Because you truly own it. It's not like any of, I don't think any of the other platforms really, but certainly many of them, where they ultimately own your content, they own your account, they own your property, and you are posting. You always have to sign a terms and conditions that says that they own your content and they can mine your data and sell it, basically. Whereas on this system, it's like, if you bring traffic, this ties back to the votes. So the more views that you get, the more votes that you get. And so if you're just posting and then leaving, and you don't, make any effort to direct people towards your content, then you're not going to get that many views, and you're not going to get that many votes. And so the whole point is, if you're driving traffic to the ecosystem and the ecosystem sees that you're getting views, then it will vote you more, and it should become a virtuous cycle. But I don't think that many people know that. And also with our login system, we haven't really pushed and marketed ThreeSpeak that much. So it's a combination of those two things at the moment. But yeah, it's ultimately your content, Rich. It's your platform, so it's your responsibility to get traffic to it, and then you'll earn crypto. Right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. So, and I confess to inordinate laziness on my part for this, but for whatever reason, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't. Okay, moving on. Because I think I've embarrassed myself enough with my confessions. You said that we are working on the login. Who is the we? Because if there isn't a company behind it.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to do any corporate entities in any way. There are a couple of layer 2 systems that will probably become corporate over time, but for good reason. But on ThreeSpeak, we're trying not to create a company at all. We're trying basically to have, where we can, volunteers come and work on the ecosystem, because it's all open source, so you can create your own version of ThreeSpeak relatively easily. You don't have to build the whole code from scratch. You can go find it on GitHub and copy it and run your own version. And that's the whole point of this. Put your own logo on it, and then you have your own video platform without having to pay hardly any money to set it up. But yeah, basically, I just say, we're trying to keep it non-corporate. And then what we do is we take some of the mining rewards that we make to pay a couple of our developers. So because we run a platform and we vote, because this is the other way to earn that's really cool, is that when you vote for content, you get 50% of the rewards of that vote. And if you don't vote, then you lose those rewards. So you have to keep voting for new content and new content creators that come on the ecosystem. And that way you also, as a voter, earn rewards as well. So you can earn from curation as well as publishing content. And those curation rewards, because obviously we vote for a lot of people that are posting to ThreeSpeak, we earn enough rewards then to pay for our developers. And so those people get paid from those curation rewards to build on the ecosystem, to build on ThreeSpeak. So we don't need employees really. They're volunteering their time to work, but they get some curation rewards in return.
Okay, but then where are these coins coming from? What's the supply of Hive?
Yeah, I think Hive's token supply currently is just over 500 million tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates new tokens in a similar way to any other crypto, any other fiat currency even. That you do some content and the community votes for you, and then the new tokens are created and sent to your account. In the same way that, for example, Bitcoin, you would mine Bitcoin and run a Bitcoin miner, and then the ecosystem would send new Bitcoins to your mining account. So it's a very similar process to that.
And is it unlimited supply?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We believe that you have to have an unlimited supply, because if you want to have zero fees and if you want to have very, very fast transactions and low fee ecosystem, you have to have a tail inflation. The problem that Bitcoin's going to have is that the fees will go up forever because it's a capped supply. So the only way that you can keep the security going in the network is by charging really, really high transaction fees. And so Bitcoin will become a chain where if you want to move Bitcoin on layer one, it'll be, in my opinion, it'll become like moving a house, like selling a house. It could become very, very expensive. It'll become a very, very big thing to move layer one Bitcoin, which isn't conducive to bringing the masses into crypto, right?
Yep.
It's not going to help the average person that's unbanked in a developing country to transact in the ecosystem. They just won't be able to afford to do it. And so it becomes an exclusive elite group of people that can move layer one Bitcoin, which was not the point of this from the start. We didn't get into crypto to have that be the scenario. So you do need a combination. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I'm pro people saving and avoiding inflation by saving Bitcoin. But it's not going to become money for the people in that sense. And so you need to have other ecosystems that have a tail inflation. And it's not some like, oh, we're going to print money like crazy. There's a very clear diminishing schedule of newly created money over time. But it does have a tail inflation to support the fact that we'll use that inflation to pay the miners and to pay the content creators in the ecosystem so that we can keep it feeless, rather than having to jack the fees up over time because there's a cap supply.
Yep, no, I get it. And what will happen increasingly with Bitcoin is it will be used as a store of value in the way that gold is.
I totally agree. And that's a good thing. That's part of the solution, right?
Yes.
We need to have a way to avoid the money printing of the bankers. Which is it's a very, very key thing. And it gives people an option to leave and store their value somewhere else that's neutral. But using it as money is going to become very, very difficult as fees go up over time. And so you need alternative systems that allow you to have $1's worth of crypto that's outside of the banking system. Many of the stable coins, I think all of the mainstream stable coins, they've all got US banking assets behind them in some way. And so they're all seizable at the end of the day. That they effectively become the CBDCs. What you want is a stable coin that has no banking assets behind it, that is feeless, that has no KYC because you can earn it directly from the chain. You'll see many of the stable coins that are going to come out over time. At some point, there'll be a KYC gate. At some point, there'll be a fee of some sort, or some sort of data collection, or some sort of ability to block your transaction. And so it's not what we got into this for originally. We originally got into this to build a parallel economy, and that's really one of the reasons that we're on Hive, is because I can't see a way that you could coerce the system into becoming that. It's going to be very, very, very difficult, if not impossible. And so we have a truly parallel economy here that protects your rights and allows you to transact.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I know about you personally, Matt, from our online and offline conversations, is your rigorous adherence to the principles of decentralization. And I don't hear any compromise of that principle. When you speak and the way that ThreeSpeak is set up, the idea, and you may have told me this before, and either I forgot or it didn't register or something, that I could earn Hive and HBD by watching other people's videos on ThreeSpeak, as well as posting my own. So then what happens? I get involved in that community. And I could say to everybody here who's watching, go open an account on threespeak.tv. Whether or not you post any videos, you can earn Hive and HBD by watching other people's videos, including my own. Would that be correct?
Well, you'd have to comment. You'd have to leave some trace that you were on the chain,
Right.
watching the content. So you'd have to say hey or make a comment on the content itself, and then it doesn't guarantee you, but you do have the chance to get voted. So your comments can get voted as well. And this is what's cool. Like a content creator like you, Rich, you could entice people to come and watch your content on Hive, make comments, and then you can vote for them. So you can pay them without having to spend your own money because you're able to use your vote to distribute crypto rewards to your followers. And so all the tools are there in place to really bring traffic to these ecosystems. It's just a case of education, really, and showing people that it's actually quite easy to distribute crypto to your followers. And it goes even further, like we think that you should create your own platform. There's a system called Breakaway Communities. It's breakaway.community. And there's a bunch of platforms there where you can spin up your own social media platform, and it's fully Web3 enabled, fully tokenized. You don't have your own token yet, but that is coming in the future. And the idea would be to work out how to drop tokens to your community without giving you any tokens, Rich. And then you would post content to that community, and your community would vote for you over time. And over time, you would earn a stake of tokens in your own token. And that is a much more moral and ethical way to do it than dropping a crypto rich token to your followers and then giving yourself 20% on the first day. Right. Because now you're getting into securities law, and you're getting into, all right now, the way the Trump administration is running things, they've basically blown up all the securities laws and said, we don't care. But that doesn't mean in the future some other administration won't come back and pursue them. So the idea to me is, can you drop a token to your community? Can we figure out a way to do that? So that you start off with zero, but we know that over time you're going to earn a stake because you're the guy behind that community. So if you're posting content, your community members are going to use that platform to vote. And over time, they'll vote for some of your content, hopefully, if it's still good. And then you'll earn a stake off the chain. And that way, property rights are much more strong than security laws. It's like this, I earn this. I didn't give this to myself. That's a very, very, very powerful thing, in my opinion. So we're moving to a place in the future where, and it's not far away, in my opinion, it's probably a couple of years, really, where you're going to have multiple content creators with their own community platforms that they span up very, very easily, dropping token value to their communities, and then those communities effectively become independent. They become what has been termed something called network states, right? So all of these people that follow you are going to, hopefully have the crypto rich community, and then it will have its own token economy and everything like that. And as long as it's non-KYC, you didn't have a pre-mine or an ICO, and you have a method to distribute tokens to people, which in this case would be via their content, because they would also post to your platform. This is how we're going to create many, many thousands of alternative parallel economies that exist outside the ecosystem, outside the current economy.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Now, in a few minutes we got left, do you want to say what else is coming up in 3speak.tv, what you're developing, and then also if there's anything else that's important that we haven't covered that you think be useful for people to know?
Yeah, sure. We're about to go into a phase where we have the full integration of the Speak network. The Speak network is this back-end storage system that fully decentralizes the storage on 3speak. And I know that's happening because a couple of days ago, I actually dragged my first file across to the Speak network. So I took it from a computer and put it on the Speak network. So that is working now, and people can run a node and get paid for storing other people's content. So this is store to earn. So it'll take a little bit of time, but we've got to do the work then once that's up and running and fully debugged, integrate that into the 3speak platform itself. But I've seen the work happen now. I know it's a real thing. We've been working on it for 3.5 years. So that's really, really cool. It's a very, very complex system, but it's very, very important for freedom of expression in the future. So that's very exciting for me. That's going to be coming into 3speak over the next few months. But we also work on several other projects that I think are really, really interesting. And one project is this thing called Hive Echo, which is where we take a bunch of short content and we put it on a public drive, and then anyone can go and grab that content and post it to their own Web2 platforms, and then the blockchain rewards them for doing that. So instead of it, like someone like me, for example, I need this because I'm not much of a content creator myself, but I can share other people's content to my own social media. That's really easy to do. So there's this movement on Hive. Actually, some of the people that run it, I see them in the room. Colby True Soups here. in my opinion, it's the most simple way to earn crypto. You literally go grab existing content that's on this drive, and the account is called Hive-Echo on the Hive blockchain. And it's got a drive. You go in, you can see all these videos that are there, and you can grab them and then post them to your own Web2. You take a screenshot and you post it in the comments of the Hive-Echo account. And you get voted, and you earn between $1 and $5. And the winner, the one that got the most views every week, earns about $30-40 of crypto. So you're literally monetizing your sharing now. So this is share to earn. I think that's a really, really cool project.
But how does that benefit isn't that theft of people's content? How does that benefit content?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it without asking the content creator, yeah, you shouldn't really be doing that. But if it's on the Hive Echo Drive, it means that you have permission to share it. Like the original content creator has worked with the Hive Echo team to put that content there. So what it means is that someone like you, Rich, you could have content like, say, video shorts, like 10, 30-second shorts of your content that you've cut over the long form stuff that you do. And you can put that on the drive, on the Hive Echo Drive, and then your followers can go grab that and share it and get paid for sharing it. So it allows you to increase your reach because your community can share your content basically on your behalf.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for that. Anything else, Matt, you want to let us know?
Yeah, there's a couple of other projects that we're working on. One that I'm really excited about is the Spend HBD movement. So this is, I was touching on it earlier, where people can spend HBD and earn cash back for spending crypto. So you mine the crypto off the blockchain from your content, and then you can go spend it in shops. And there's a whole map. I'd recommend a site called worldmapping.com. That's got a bunch of different content all over the world that shows you people spending on Hive and going on holidays and vacations and traveling and posting on the chain and everything like this. Like it's like you can see a big worldwide community forming on there. But the platform that we pay the discounts through is called distriator.com, and that effectively allows you to spend and earn crypto. So the user sees it as a cashback, but that's growing all over the world. It's become very successful in Nigeria and Venezuela, parts of Mexico, Colombia. It's moving to the Philippines now. We've had some people posting there and earning cash back. So it's very, very interesting. It's just basically saying to normal people, hey, you can spend crypto. It's very easy to spend, and you can get cash back from the blockchain. The blockchain will pay you some of the inflation for using it. And so this is very, very powerful. I see Caleb Marvel's in the room here. He's a very, very prominent figure in the Nigerian spend to earn community. And it's just crazy because we're figuring out different ways to get people paid. So if you onboard a business, every time people spend in that business, you get a little bit of a payment. If you onboard a user, every time that user spends in that business, you get a little bit of a payment because you onboarded the user. So it just allows us to distribute value to the real true value creators in the ecosystem. And yeah, there's loads of things like this coming up where it's like, anything that you can think to post on the blockchain, to post evidence that you did something on the blockchain, and you can then earn some rewards for that. That's kind of where we're going to, and it's very, very exciting in the future, I think, because we need these neutral mechanisms. Like if you basically, it's what I would call, and Brian of London's in the room here, brought the term onto the chain, value for value. So if you create some value, you can get some value back. And so any blockchain community wants you to use it. So the blockchain community that does the best job of distributing value to people for using it. And when you use it, as long as that's like a value capture mechanism. So spending the currency is very, very valuable for the ecosystem. Posting valuable content is very, very valuable for the ecosystem, and bringing traffic to the ecosystem is very, very valuable. Sharing other people's content that want to have that content shared and spreading the message about the blockchain community that you're on is also very, very valuable. So if you can figure out innovative ways to reward those types of actions, you can have a very, very powerful mechanism of distribution that distributes to the value creators in the ecosystem. And so you have a value for value system where the chain is distributing value to the people that are creating value for the chain. And really that's what we're working on building. One final thing that we're working on is an app where if you're a trusted Hivian, it's going to be called Check-in With. I'm not going to put the rest of the URL there yet because it's not finished. But we're very, very close to releasing something called Check-in With, which is where if you take a selfie with an existing Hivian who's got reputation in the ecosystem, it's very, very, very simple. Like you just log in, you hit take a selfie, you take the selfie, and then it posts its chain for you, it titles the block for you, it puts the tags on for you, so you don't need to think about any of that. And once it's gone to chain, so it's like you, Crypto Rich, could onboard someone, take a selfie with them, and they don't have to show their faces in the selfie if they don't want. But the idea is that there's some evidence that you were with this person. That goes on the blockchain, and then instantly you mine a couple of dollars of HBD to your account, and you mine Satoshis to your account. So we started to do this where we're turning this into a Bitcoin distribution mechanism as well. So people can earn Bitcoin for just checking in with an existing Hivian. And then from that point forward, they go on followers list. So their content, because it's like, oh, this person checked in through Crypto Rich. So we trust Crypto Rich. We know he's a legit person. So if they checked in through you, they then go on a followers list. So every time they post content, they get voted. It's like this person came from Crypto Rich, right? So it's a way for you. So even if you don't have a big stake in Hive yourself, you can talk to people about Hive and be like, hey, this thing's cool, come post your pictures or your content over here, and then they're going to get votes, but you're effectively leveraging our stake to get those votes to your followers, right, to the people that you check in with. And they will earn instant Bitcoin for checking in with you, which I think is super cool. And then just one last thing that I forgot to mention is we're running something called onebitcoinclub.org, which is it's purely for Bitcoiners. Only Bitcoiners can log into it. You have to prove that you're a Bitcoiner. There's a certain mechanism that we can use to do that. And it checks your Bitcoin account and says if you have a certain balance, then you can post to this platform exclusively. And you can, every time you get votes off people, certain accounts instantly send you Satoshis. So they use the Hive distribution mechanism, but convert some of it into Bitcoin. So you post content and then within a few seconds, you get a little ding in your wallet of Satoshi account, and it's some Bitcoin that have come to your wallet of Satoshi. And so that allows Bitcoiners to exclusively post on a Bitcoin only platform and earn Bitcoin for their posts.
That's extraordinary. What was that again? That one?
onebitcoinclub.org.
One Bitcoin
Club.
Flood.
No, club. Like
Club. One Bitcoin Club.
C-U-L.
I got it. Okay.
CLUB.
OneBitcoinClub.org. Wow. Well, that's really interesting because that is one that Bitcoin maxis can get behind, even though it's to do with an altcoin.
This is the point. The idea here is that as you post content on that system, you'll earn Hive Power, which is the governance token staked. You'll earn some HBD and you'll earn some Bitcoin. And the idea is it's not necessarily to go for maxis because maxis won't. They'll even refuse the chance to earn another token. But the idea of normal people being able to use their own content to earn Bitcoin is very, very, very powerful.
Something. Yes.
And I don't know anywhere else that can do that. Like you could go to a Nostra front end and earn a Zap, but you got to publish the content that people want to be published there, and it's all Bitcoin related, and you have to get a donation from someone, which is fine. It's very, very good, but it's not really a way to monetize, and it means you're ultimately working for a Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
But with this type of system and this type of technology, you can have normal people voting for you, and obviously the range of different types of people and their different views varies so much that you're not just kind of falling into the maxi paradigm, and you can still earn Bitcoin for posting your photos and content to the blockchain. And this is going to happen for many other cryptos as well. It's not just going to be Bitcoin. We'll roll this out for Ethereum and Solana and all sorts of other cryptos as we go forwards. Just takes time to develop, but these things are all coming. And there's loads of other things as well. We could go on for ages about all the different possibilities of this stuff, but it's really happening, and we're really building this stuff. It's really cool.
Well, one of the things that you're pointing to or coming from, it's in the background. I can hear it, and it's the relationship between freedom of speech and creativity. Censorship kills creativity. But where there isn't censorship, where ideas can flourish and grow, then you have a growth in censorship, in creativity, just an explosion in creativity. And I can hear that in what you're saying. And I want to, I've done several of these spaces for the CoinRepublican.com, and thank you to them for this opportunity. But if there's any people here who are active within the 3Speak ecosystem and you're developing something like the one about getting people to use HBD, send me a DM on X. My DMs are open, and then maybe we can do a little video to promote 3Speak through whatever application you're doing, because I think it's really, really, really important. I've just seen on the Hive's Twitter account, which is @HiveBlocks, how they posted that X has received something like requests from the Indian government to block over 8,000 accounts.
Yes.
that the
Yeah.
government,
That's the world we're going to. That's the world
yeah,
we're going into. If we exist in the old economy, and also if we exist on many of the other chains, because those chains can block your accounts because they're centralized, because they have massive pre-mines. We're going into a weird world like that. Whereas technology like Hive, it really is about as neutral as you can get it. It's going to be very, very difficult to do that for these power brokers. Obviously, like if the Indian government wrote to us and say, "Hey, remove this content off your platform," then we'd have to consider to do that, right? But no one can remove it from the blockchain. The underlying storage layer is behind the scenes there, and anyone can go grab that content. So it's really, really hard once content's posted to the blockchain to remove it.
yes,
And you need a decentralized consensus. So there isn't one person that you can go to and say, "Hey, remove this content." It's got to be a decentralized consensus.
yes. And
And
then I
that's
see
very hard for one government to put pressure on. Right.
yes. And I see 3speak.tv as part of the whole movement towards a decentralized ecosystem. So a few weeks ago, I had DVPN, which is a decentralized VPN built on the Sentinel blockchain. And then before that, I had somebody from Pirate Chain, which is fully private, censorship resistant money. So you can have Pirate Chain and you got your DVPN, so you can bypass government restrictions, and then you can go and watch something on 3speak.tv and exchange ideas freely and earn Hive and HBD, which you can then spend locally
Yes.
or
Yes.
through the 3speak platform. Matt, thank you so much. I so appreciate this. And I'd say to anybody here, please follow 3speak TV on X. And then you can find out more about how to connect with 3speak.tv, and also follow Hive Blocks at Hive Blocks on X. And then you can find out more about Hive. Anything else you want to say where people can find out about Hive and 3speak?
I mean, not to just make this about Hive and 3speak, but there's another account in the room here called VSC Intern. And they're working on a project which is a layer 2 DeFi system, which will be feeless DeFi. And that is so cool, because like one of the big problems that you have if you go on a DeFi system is you're constantly doing transactions and spending fees. Because the layer 1 on Hive is free, is zero fee, you can go use VSC's layer 2 smart contract systems and DeFi systems with no fees. So that's very, very, very powerful. And they're also doing a thing where you can use any crypto wallet and move any other crypto as long as it's on VSC already. You can then, so you'll be able to log in with your Solana wallet and move Bitcoin assets, for example, or you'll be able to move Ethereum assets from your Solana wallet. So you don't even need to learn new wallets or anything like that. And the opportunities to have like instant swaps between the chains is very, very powerful on VSC because there's no fees. One of the first things that's going to be released there is feeless Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's going to be wrapped onto VSC, and then there's going to be no fees to move your Bitcoin around. And this, in our opinion, is a key element to the Bitcoin ecosystem, to keeping it free and accessible to everybody. And so you can start to think about what direction that's moving in. There's a bunch of other projects on Hive as well that are very, very important that are coming out, but I won't go into too many details about them. But do check out VSC if you get a chance. They're rocking it over there.
Sure. Well, VSC, send me a message on X and we can talk, and you don't have to show your face on camera if we agree to record a video. I'd love to know more about this. And Matt, you and we should do another video soon on 3speak. And this is supposed to be just an hour, but I think we could go on for ages and ages because there's so much coming up, but we're not going to.
Yeah,
right?
we need to have one of our mega conversations offline, and I'll sit down and show you some of this stuff, because it's really starting to come to fruition. And it's been a long time, and we've been building away, but that's the whole point. During the bear markets, you just get your head down and keep building, and the rates of building sometimes speed up and sometimes slow down, but over time this technology is happening, and we really are moving into a world where we're going to have these parallel economies, and people are going to have the rights to transact, and hopefully it will bring the old system into check, so it won't be as oppressive as it wants to be, because if it becomes too oppressive, people will just simply leave.
Yeah, like what happened with Steemit when you mentioned at the beginning.
Right. It's I like the way that you structured that, because it is a very similar thing. People, if they see an oppressive system and they have an opportunity to leave to a more neutral system that protects their rights, they will voluntarily move across. And that's what this world that we're building truly is starting to provide. And it just, in my opinion, is a very, very powerful thing for humanity. And I'm just very excited to see all of this start to come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, there's something else that you'll point to, which is money goes to where it's treated best. Yeah. And people go to where they're treated best. So they go from California with its high taxes, to Florida. And then during lockdown, I know people who went to Mexico because they wanted to be able to breathe without having to wear a mask.
I was one of them.
Absolutely.
I was one of them.
I wasn't going to say that about you, Matt.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Matt, so great to talk to you. Thank you so much. Everybody who's watching, thank you. And thank you to thecoinrepublic.com for hosting this. Much appreciated. All the best. Bye-bye.